The legend is told of a businessman during the Great Depression who found himself at the end of his rope, staring down the barrel of bankruptcy and homelessness. He was distraught. He sat in the park, wondering how he's going to face his family, his wife, when a stately old man sat beside him. "I can see something is troubling you. What's wrong?" asked the old man. After listening to the fellow's difficulties, the old man said, "I believe I could help you." He asked the man for his name, wrote out a check, and handed it to him, saying, "Take this money. You look like an honest fellow. Meet me here in exactly 1 year from now, and you can pay me back." He then turned and disappeared. The businessman, surprised, looks down, and in his hand was a check for $100,000 signed by John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men in the world. Jumping up with a spring in his step, he felt that he had been given a new lease on life. With renewed vigor and optimism, he negotiated better contracts and extended terms of payment from his suppliers and resumed his business activity. He saw such an immediate improvement, he never even needed to cash the check. And within a few weeks, he was out of debt and had started making money again. The year passed and the businessman returned to the park with the uncashed check. Not seeing the old man, he decided to wait. Some time passes and the businessman finally sees the old man and immediately makes his way to offer his heartfelt gratitude. But before he could reach him, the businessman sees a nurse running to catch the old man. "I'm so glad I caught him," she cried. "I hope he hasn't been bothering you. He's escaped from the asylum a block away and he's been writing out checks telling people he's Rockefeller." I'm always reminded of this anecdote when we read the infamous words of the spies found in this week's Parsha. In their report to the Jewish people, the spies described their impression of the people in the land of Israel. "We were like grasshoppers in our eyes, and so too were we in their eyes." With their words, they revealed how they thought of themselves. And with their thoughts, they determined how they would be viewed. You see, the way we see ourselves is the way we are perceived. The trajectory and destiny of our lives is largely determined by how we look at ourselves. This inner confidence can profoundly change us and the spirit of how we do things. It could also change the way we impact another. We can be the Rockefeller for someone else. During the times of the second Beis Hamikdash, the office of the Kohen Gadol was corrupted. It became a position that the wealthy and powerful were able to muscle their way in. As the Gemara in Yuma recounts that Yeshua ben Gamla was one such man. But yet in the Gemara in Baba Basra, we find a glowing description of the very same man. The Talmud tells us there, were it not for Yeshua ben Gamla, the Torah would be forgotten from the Jewish people. It was through his efforts and his innovation that the framework of an educational system was born. How do we reconcile these two polar opposite profiles? The Chadushei Harim provides a beautiful insight. Indeed, he says, it was the same person. He was ambitious, he was power hungry, he was narcissistic. But after becoming a Kohen Gadol and being greeted every morning with the words, "My master the Kohen Gadol," being treated and viewed as someone who is holy and mindful of the needs of the nation around him, a paradigm shift occurred. He started to view himself as a Kohen Gadol, as a leader, as someone who is responsible for the welfare of the community. And the standards and expectations of his role profoundly changed him and brought out the greatness within him. Let us always be mindful of how perception and identity create reality. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbos.